Imagine walking through a forest, and suddenly, a saber-toothed cat appears in front of you, fangs as long as your forearm. This isn't a movie. This isn't a drawing. This was an ordinary day, just 12,000 years ago. Our ancestors didn't read about dinosaurs in books. They looked into the eyes of beasts bigger than anything we know today, and lived to tell the story. Today, I'm taking you into a world that vanished, but left its fingerprints in our caves, our bones, and even in our DNA.
If you were in that situation, would you run or hide? Drop your answer in the comments honestly. Most people picked a third option, and I'll tell you what it was in a minute. About 50,000 years ago, the Earth didn't look like it does now. Europe, Asia, and North America were home to creatures that seem pulled straight out of science fiction. The woolly mammoth, standing over 13 feet tall, roamed the frozen plains. The giant sloth, the size of a small elephant, stood on two legs just to strip leaves from trees. And cave lions, 25% bigger than African lions today, lurked in the shadows. But the real question isn't what these beasts looked like. It's this. How did a human being with no fangs, no claws, no thick fur dare to live alongside them, let alone hunt them? If that fact surprised you, hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps me keep making content like this.
Now, you might be thinking, wait, so humans lived alongside dinosaurs? No. And this common mix-up is worth pausing on for a second. The last dinosaur on Earth went extinct 66 million years ago when a massive asteroid struck our planet. Meanwhile, the first Homo sapiens humans just like us didn't appear until roughly 300,000 years ago.
So, the gap between the last dinosaur and the first human? 65.7 million years. Try to wrap your head around that number. The mammoth we talked about earlier is actually far closer to us in time than to the dinosaurs, in fact. The gap between mammoths and dinosaurs is bigger than the gap between mammoths and today. The beasts humans actually lived alongside mammoths, cave lions. Giant sloths were not dinosaurs at all. They belong to what's known as Ice Age megafauna, and they lived and went extinct in a period incredibly close to us compared to the age of the Earth. Dinosaurs were legends of a world that vanished millions of years before we ever existed. But the beasts we're talking about today, those were our real neighbors. And that's what makes their story even more remarkable.
Early humans weren't passive victims, they were strategic hunters. Archaeologists have uncovered finely sharpened bone spear points linked to the Clovis culture in North America, made specifically for hunting mammoths. This wasn't a one-on-one fight, it was tightly coordinated teamwork, with tribes driving herds towards swamps or cliff edges to weaken them before the final strike. Every animal they caught wasn't just a meal. It was the source of everything. Meat for survival, hide for shelter and warmth, bone for tools and weapons, and even tusks and horns for crafting primitive musical instruments discovered in caves across Germany. Tell me what you think. Do you believe early humans were smarter than we give them credit for? In the Chauvet cave in France, our ancestors left behind something deeper than bones and tools. They left behind art. Charcoal and ochre paintings show cave lions mid-hunt, and woolly rhinos caught in full stride. These aren't random drawings. Some researchers believe they may be humanity's very first attempt at telling a story. They painted what they feared, what they revered, and what they depended on to survive. This art is the closest message we have from a world that disappeared entirely.
This is where the big scientific debate begins. There are two leading theories. The first is called the overkill hypothesis, the idea that as humans spread rapidly and hunted intensively, they were the direct cause of these species' extinction within just a few thousand years. The second theory points to the dramatic climate shift at the end of the Ice Age, which destroyed the habitats these animals depended on to survive. The most likely truth, according to most recent research, is a combination of both: a rapidly shifting climate and a human hunter adapting faster and smarter than any other species on the planet. Humans weren't just survivors in this harsh world without even realizing it. They were one of the most powerful forces shaping its fate. If you're enjoying this journey through time, subscribe now and hit the bell. What's coming next goes even deeper.
The last mammoths vanished only about 4,000 years ago, around the same time the Egyptian pyramids were already standing. This isn't as distant a history as we imagine. And even today, our DNA still carries traces of that world. Our resistance to certain diseases, and even some of our physical traits, trace back to that era when we shared the earth with giants we now only see in museums. Next time you look at mammoth bones in a museum, remember, this isn't just a fossil. This is a witness to a survival story that lasted thousands of years, one won by the physically weakest creature, but by far the smartest.
If you made it this far, you're clearly someone who loves a great true story. Drop the word beast in the comments if you enjoyed this episode. Subscribe to catch our next journey through history, and tell me, which extinct animal would you want to see alive, even just for 1 second?